So were you able to make a lot of friends while you were there as well? Because I know you mentioned that you were able to practice different formalities. Do you feel like that kind of enabled you to meet more people from different age ranges while you were there?
I would say yes, because first I was able to really get to know our like program like leaders from IES, so the people who are in charge of us. Um, so whenever I was seeing them, I always tried to just not speak English with them initially, so I could just practice getting used to having that formal language interaction with them, because it is a big part of Japanese culture of just having that respect for your elders, and anyone who's in a higher position than you are. And then for my peers, I definitely got to know a lot of different students at the school, through who were also friends of my e-pals and the other e-pals of the other students in my cohort, but as well as just people that I wouldn't have not talked to at all, which is also an interesting thing, is that you really have to take that first step in interacting with them, to be able to really start that relationship of getting to know them. Because if not, everyone's going to just stay in their own bubble.
Oh.
Yeah.
And do you still communicate with some of these friends that you made with?
Yeah. I think I probably talk to at least one of them almost every week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Any plans to go visit in the future, or them coming to visit you?
We have talked about stuff, whether I'm able to go at some point, or if they have plans to like just come to the U.S. or anything, or specifically for me, because I'm in California, to come over here and then hang out. Not like any made plans, but just like talking about them. And it's like, hey, if you would like to, I'm here. We could have some fun. We could go around. But I also actually applied for a CLS scholarship program for next summer, which I'm hoping I get accepted for, which means I would go back to Japan next summer.
So what is the CLS program?
So the CLS program is the critical language study program that is funded by the government. And it's just to increase awareness and also appreciation for languages, and just to help people just learn about different languages and be able to just utilize them.
And this is a summer program, correct?
Yes.
And for how long?
It would be for 3 months. So it'd start from June and end in August.
That's great. I hope you get in.
I hope so too.
When do you find out?
So there's an initial review process that I find out if I passed in January, and then the acceptance, denial, or wait list is in March.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Do you know where in Japan you might potentially be?
I believe it's the area is called Okomiya.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is a nearby Kansai region. So it's just a little past Kyoto, Osaka, and Nara.
Yeah, I hear with the CLS program, it's a very intensive. So like by the end, you're actually coming in with a very high level of language learning in there.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping I get out there.
So based on like what you've been learning in your languages and everything, like how does that play into maybe like potentially in the future? Maybe career-wise. It could be personally, academically, or even professionally. How has your study abroad experience helped you in that?
I would say I've grown more socially aware and culturally aware as well, which for me is, I would say, a really big deal, because what my path that I'm trying to get onto right now is to be a media visual translator, and so right now that's my plan for what I want to do as a career. So depending on where that would lead me to, I could end up working in Japan, or even just working with other Japanese people. So
it's definitely crucial in that big next step.
Yeah.
Then. I did have one question to ask you regarding your, I identity. How did your identity play a role in your study abroad experience?
I think overall it wasn't like that big of a difference for me compared to my other cohort people, but there was this one time me and my roommate were actually going home from classes, and so we were on the train and we had just gotten on, so we were just waiting for it to depart. And so we were sitting on one side, and it was basically like, I think it was a half empty car, and then there was I believe there were two high school girls sitting across from us. And so we're pretty sure they thought that we didn't like speak any Japanese or anything at all. So they were kind of just talking amongst themselves. And then at one point they ended up one of them or both of them ended up raising their phones up, and they ended up taking a picture of us. And so then they just they were also like just like giggling or something, and my friend caught more of what they were saying, and they were just talking about us. And so that was just an interesting experience there, because it was completely random. We were just heading home. But yeah,
did that ever happen again, or like even just in general? Because like I've been abroad before as well, and I've been to Japan too. And I always get these different stares, or people literally will come up to me and be like, oh, can I take a picture of you? Or did anything similar to happen like that? Or
not really.
Really?
Yeah. No one came up to me randomly. There was this one time on a field trip, though, where these two Japanese people who were also doing like a podcast show, they came up to our group and they asked if they could interview any one of us. I don't remember exactly what it was for, but I think it was about foreigners in Japan too. So yeah.
So you mentioned different excursions. Is this part of the IES program?
Yes.
What type of excursions did they have?
The first one that we did was a trip to Kawasaki. No, not Kawasaki, Kamakura. That was a trip. And over there, the first thing that we did was go to a famous place called Kenroku Garden. And we spent just a bit of just time just going through the garden and just looking at all the different trees and plants, and it was just like very calm and serene, so it was very nice to see that. And then also over there we went to a gold leaf factory, and we also made wagashi, which is a dessert pastry over there, which was slightly difficult to make.
Why?
It's just a lot of minimal like movements, kind of. It's all just with your hands too. And so making it like almost immaculate, like the workers who have been in that factory for like years, compared to theirs, ours were okay. I think mines were still like decent or lacking a little bit, but my friends said mine turned out really nicely. But yeah.
Did you do any other excursions, or even outside of IES, did you have a chance to travel on your own, or even with friends as well?
Yeah, so another, actually, I think it might have been my favorite excursion that we did with IES, was we made Edo Furin, which is wind chime, that was made in the Edo period. So we were able to blow our own glass for that excursion. So that was really nice, because I had also at the time gotten really into watching glass blowing competition shows. So that was really fun, and we got to paint the inside as well. The special thing about Edo Furin is that each one has its own original sound depending on how it's blown, and then once the bottom part is broken, the jagged edges is what makes the sound.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you get to take home the piece? Or
Yeah.
So you have it now as a decoration? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Is there any tips and advice for anyone that potentially wants to study abroad? And this could be anything. It could be like you mentioned, like your first time flying on your own, or even someone that might be interested in going maybe with IES to Japan.
I would say the first thing probably is just don't be afraid to take that first step. and that's in like any part of the process. So it's whether you start off by just looking for this information to go study abroad, and just taking that chance if you're able to, because you never know when you might not be able to just have that experience.
Well, thank you, Raniero, for joining us today. And thanks to all of our listeners out there. You can find more information about study abroad on our website at mypacific.edu, or click on the link on our YouTube channel below. If you are interested in different topics, you can please comment below or reach out to us at pacific.edu. You can also follow us on Instagram via Pacific Abroad. Our office is located at Bechtel International Center, which is right next to Casa Jackson. And thanks to theCUBE and to our producers. And again, thank you, Raniero, for joining us today
Thank you
talking
for having
about
me.
Japan. And a reminder to all of our listeners, you can study abroad.